Today we're going to talk about density, which describes the amount of stuff that's crammed into a particular space. So really the amount of matter in a particular volume. Two things can have the same volume but different masses, and that means they will also have different densities. So we're going to first illustrate this with a liquid density column. We poured 1/3 of honey, 1/3 of water, and 1/3 of vegetable oil into a clear cup and let them settle. It doesn't actually matter what order you pour the three liquids in, because by density alone, the least dense will be on top, so the oil will be on top, and the most dense, honey, will be on the bottom. So once you've showed your class the liquid density column, you can also talk to them about how solids also have different densities. So to illustrate this, we have three different solids. We have a cork, a grape, and a coin. Here I chose to use a penny. So have the class make predictions about which one they think is the most dense and where within the density column each one will fall if you drop them into the liquid. And then go ahead and execute that in front of the class. So first start out with the penny, and we're going to drop it in and see where it ends up. So as you can see, the penny is really dense. It falls straight through the top two layers and ends up settling on nearly on the bottom, floating just in the honey. So the penny has a pretty high density. So the next one we'll choose is the grape, and we'll see where that ends up. The grape is also pretty dense, but you can see that it's hovering between the honey and the water. So it has a density within the range of those two. And the last one's the cork, and the class could guess that because the cork is very light, it might float on top, and so you can go ahead and try this out. And in fact, it floats on top of all three, so it is the least dense solid. So now that you've performed the experiment in front of the class, you can talk a little bit about what they should have learned. They should be able to understand the concept of density, in that it's the amount of stuff that makes up a particular area, or the amount of matter per volume. So even though the cork, the grape, and the coin all had similar sizes, they all had different densities, and so they ended up floating in different places in the density column. Furthermore, you should emphasize that both liquid and solid can have density. And then lastly, you should emphasize that when something has less density than another, it's able to float.